The sky over Vera shimmered in colors no human could name. Two suns bathed the floating palaces in soft gold and violet light. The air was thick with the scent of alien flowers, glowing faintly with their own inner energy. Birds with translucent wings hovered around spires taller than any building on Earth. From her throne, Queen Zira watched it all, her slender hands resting on the armrests, her piercing violet eyes surveying the crowd. Today was a day unlike any other. Today she would marry a human. Alex stood at the palace gates, his earth-born clothes slightly out of place among the flowing robes of alien nobility. The crowd of aliens watched him curiously, whispering among themselves. Humans were rare in this part of the galaxy. Few had ever set foot on Vera, and fewer still had caught the attention of their queen. But Alex had. His calm confidence, his quiet kindness, and his fearless honesty had intrigued Zira from the moment she met him. He walked through the palace gardens, taking in the strange sights. The flowers pulsed softly, almost like they were breathing. Small. Creatures with delicate, crystalline wings darted between the petals, and holographic streams of water floated in midair. Despite the alien surroundings, Alex felt no fear. Instead, he felt a strange peace, as if he belonged in this world even though he had never been here before. Zira descended from her throne, her robes flowing like liquid starlight. She moved with grace, each step measured and deliberate. The crowd fell silent as she approached Alex, her eyes locked on his. In that moment, it was not her crown or her power that mattered. It was the human standing before her, steady and unshaken, not even slightly intimidated by the alien grandeur. "Alex," she said, her voice clear and commanding. "Do you understand the duties you accept today?" "I do, Your Majesty," he replied calmly, bowing slightly in respect. "I may be human, but I am willing to learn. I will support you, and I will honor the people of Vera." A murmur ran through the crowd. Many had expected hesitation, doubt, or fear. Humans were fragile, short-lived compared to Verans. Yet here was one who spoke with unwavering resolve. Zira's lips curved into a small smile. Perhaps she had chosen wisely. The ceremony began in the Grand Hall of Starlight, a massive space filled with floating crystal orbs that reflected the sun's rays into sparkling patterns on the floor. Alien musicians played strange instruments, producing melodies that vibrated through the air. The air itself seemed alive with energy, reacting to the power of the queen. Alex followed Zira to the center of the hall, where a pedestal floated above the floor. On it lay the crown of unity, a symbol of marriage and the bond between human and Veran. Zira picked it up, her delicate hands surprisingly strong, and placed it on Alex's head. "For our peoples to unite, for trust and respect between worlds, I place this symbol upon you," she said. Alex felt a faint tingling in his mind as the crown touched him. It was not painful, but it was powerful, connecting him to Zira and the energy of Vera. He did not falter. He lifted his head proudly, showing the crowd that he accepted this bond fully. The high priest, a tall, multi-limbed alien with skin that shifted colors like the surface of a calm ocean, spoke words in the ancient Veran language. The meaning was clear even to Alex. The union was complete. Two beings, two worlds, united not just by ceremony, but by the promise of partnership. Zira looked at him, studying his expression. "You are calm," she said softly. "Many would be overwhelmed by this. I wondered if you would be afraid." "I have fear," Alex admitted, "but I also have purpose. I am here because I choose to be. I do not let fear control me." The queen studied him for a long moment, then nodded. Perhaps this human was unlike any she had met before. Perhaps his ordinariness was only surface deep. After the ceremony, the celebrations began. Alien nobles approached Alex with questions. offering gifts of rare crystals, mechanical devices, and knowledge. He accepted them all politely, showing respect and curiosity without arrogance. Zyra noticed how naturally he adapted to the alien etiquette. He did not stumble over their customs, though he was clearly learning. He smiled at people, asked questions about their culture, and listened more than he spoke. Even the servants, who were invisible observers of the court, noticed him. Alex treated everyone with fairness, kindness, and patience. Some whispered to each other, saying, "Perhaps the Queen's choice was wise. Perhaps this human is more than he seems." Zyra, however, dismissed these thoughts. She still believed he was ordinary, a human with cleverness and courage, nothing more. She had chosen him for his heart, not for power. And yet, there was something about the way he moved, the way he spoke, and the quiet confidence in his eyes that suggested a hidden depth. As the suns began to set, casting long shadows across the palace, Zyra and Alex walked through the floating gardens. The air was warm, and the plants glowed softly in response to their presence. Alex reached out and gently touched a flower, marveling at its energy. "This world is incredible," he said. "I have never seen anything like it on Earth." Zyra smiled. "And you are part of it now," she replied. "Part of Vera. Do not forget that your choices here affect many lives." "I will remember," he said, "and I will do my best." As night fell, the floating palaces lit up like constellations. The citizens of Vera looked up, wondering at the human who had earned their queen's trust. For now he seemed ordinary, even fragile in their eyes. But Zyra could not shake the feeling that there was more to him than met the eye. And perhaps, she thought, that was exactly why she had chosen him. The morning on Vera began with soft, golden light spilling over the floating gardens. Birds with crystal wings fluttered between the flowers, and the air smelled faintly of sweet nectar. Alex woke in the royal quarters, surrounded by unfamiliar shapes and glowing walls. He rubbed his eyes, trying to adjust. Though he had been married for a day, life on Vera was still strange, and every moment brought something new to learn. Zyra entered the room gracefully, her violet robes flowing like liquid light. She smiled at Alex, though there was a hint of concern in her eyes. "Are you ready for your first council meeting as my consort?" she asked. Alex nodded, though he felt a knot of nervousness. "I am," he replied. "I want to understand everything, so I can help." The Queen led him to the council hall, a massive chamber with walls of translucent crystal. The council members were waiting, alien leaders with multiple arms, shifting skin colors, and eyes that seemed to see through thoughts. They looked at Alex with curiosity and skepticism. Humans were rarely involved in politics outside Earth, and most Verans believed humans were weak. "Alex, this is your introduction," Zyra said softly. "Speak with respect and honesty. They will judge you, but do not fear." Alex bowed slightly and greeted the council members. His voice was steady, and he answered their questions politely. Yet he struggled with some customs. When one member bowed 3 times before speaking, Alex bowed once, unsure if it was enough. Another member asked him to recite the Veran Code of Ethics, and he stumbled over the words, saying them slowly and imperfectly. Zyra noticed the council's murmurs and worried about their impression, but she also noticed something unusual. When Alex faced problems, he did not panic. He thought carefully, listened to others, and responded with solutions that made sense. The council was surprised, even if they did not fully understand why. After the meeting, Zyra and Alex walked through the palace gardens. The air was cool and the flowers glowed gently. Alex sighed, a little overwhelmed. "This is harder than I thought," he admitted. "I want to do well, but their ways are so different." Zyra touched his arm gently. "It will take time. You are human, and humans do not think like Verans. That is both your challenge and your strength. As the days passed, Alex adapted. He learned the alien language more fluently, observed the council's politics, and began understanding the technology of Vera. One morning, a device in the palace's security system malfunctioned, threatening to lock the main gates and trap dozens of people. While the Verans panicked, Alex quietly studied the device. Using reasoning he had learned from Earth, he reprogrammed it to work correctly. The doors opened, and the crowd gasped in amazement. Zira observed quietly, hiding a mixture of admiration and curiosity. He is clever, she thought. But is it luck or something more? At night, Alex explored the floating city. He marveled at the architecture, the floating walkways, and the energy fields that powered everything. He also observed the citizens. They were strong, disciplined, and deeply loyal to their queen, yet they were often rigid, following rules without questioning. He noticed small ways he could help, using simple human logic to suggest improvements. That made life easier for both workers and council members. One day, a minor rebellion began in a nearby district. A group of young Verans was unhappy with the council's decisions and started organizing protests. Zira was concerned, but she wanted to see how Alex would respond. "Alex," she said, "this is part of ruling. You must understand their ways if you wish to help me." "How would you handle this?" Alex thought carefully. "We should listen to them first," he said. "Then we explain our plan. Punishment should be the last choice, not the first. If we show fairness, they will respect us more." Zira raised an eyebrow. "Fairness? That is not always how Verans operate." "I understand," he said, "but sometimes the human way works too. Sometimes showing trust brings stronger results than fear." Reluctantly, Zira allowed him to try. Alex met with the protesting Verans, listened to their concerns, and calmly explained the council's perspective. He suggested compromises that preserved the Queen's authority while addressing the citizens' needs. To Zira's surprise, the protest ended peacefully, and the young rebels pledged loyalty. Word of Alex's actions spread quietly through the city. Some council members began whispering to each other, "Perhaps the Queen's choice is not as foolish as we thought." Others remained skeptical, but none could deny his effectiveness. Yet Alex remained humble. He did not seek praise, and he never boasted about his solutions. To Zira, this made him even more remarkable. She began to see glimpses of something beyond human cleverness, a quiet strength, a calm confidence that seemed almost unshakable. One evening, Zira and Alex sat in the floating gardens overlooking the glowing city. The twin suns had set, and the night sky was alive with stars. Alex pointed to a constellation that reminded him of Earth. "I miss my home sometimes," he admitted, "but Vera is incredible, and I want to help make it stronger." Zira smiled. "You already have, Alex, but remember, this is only the beginning. Challenges will come that you cannot imagine." He nodded, though he did not fully understand what she meant. But one thing was certain. He would face every challenge, no matter how alien or impossible, with patience, thought, and courage. That night, Zira realized something that both unsettled and fascinated her. Alex was human, yes, and to the world, he appeared ordinary. But there was something in him that went beyond ordinary humans she had heard about. She could not yet see it clearly, but she felt its presence, a quiet, steady power that might one day shake the galaxy. For now, he was her husband, her partner, and her human consort. But Zira had a feeling that the real story of Alex had not yet begun, and when it did, it would change everything. The sky above Vera had turned a deep, stormy purple. The twin suns were obscured by heavy clouds that reflected flashes of distant lightning. A sense of tension filled the floating city. Word had spread that a rogue faction of Verans unhappy. With the Queen's rule, had begun moving in secret, preparing to strike. Though small, they were cunning and well-armed. Zira paced in the grand hall of starlight, her long robes brushing the crystalline floor. Her eyes were sharp, scanning reports from spies and scouts. "They are more organized than I expected," she murmured, frustration evident in her voice. "If they gain momentum, the city could be in chaos before we even respond." Alex stood, nearby, listening carefully. He had spent weeks learning Veyron's strategies, their military hierarchy, and even the principles of their martial arts. Though still considered a human of no special strength, he had quietly observed everything, learning patterns the Veyrons themselves overlooked. "Zira," he said, his voice calm, "we can't just react. We need a plan that considers their movements and predicts their next steps." The Queen paused, considering him. "And what do you suggest?" Alex walked over to a holographic map of the city. Tiny lights represented troops and resources. He pointed to clusters of red dots moving in patterns along the lower districts. "They are splitting into small units, probably to avoid detection. If we cut off their supply routes and control the bridges to the upper city, we can contain them before they gain support," the council members gasped. "Contain them? That is impossible," one exclaimed. "The lower districts are labyrinthine. They will escape." Alex shook his head. "Not if we act smart. We'll use their own habits against them. They think they know the city, but we know them better." Zira studied him. She could see a calm certainty in his eyes, a confidence that even the most experienced generals lacked. "Very well," she said. "We will follow your plan. But if this fails," Alex gave a faint smile, "it will not fail." Over the next hours, the palace buzzed with activity. Veyron soldiers moved along bridges and corridors, following Alex's instructions. He coordinated quietly, using logic, observation, and a human perspective the aliens had never considered. When the rebels attempted to flank the city, traps had been set in unexpected locations, cutting them off and slowing their advance. Zira watched from her throne room as reports came in. She could hardly believe the results. A human, her human, was directing an entire defensive operation more efficiently than seasoned Veyron commanders. Yet Alex never boasted. He simply gave orders calmly and checked on the troops, ensuring the plan worked as intended. That night, the rebels launched a surprise attack on one of the floating bridges connecting the districts. Explosions shook the air, and alarms rang through the city. Veyron soldiers panicked, unsure how to respond. Alex stepped forward. He moved swiftly along the bridge, dodging debris and guiding the soldiers with precise instructions. Using a combination of human ingenuity and quick reflexes, he managed to redirect the attackers into traps and secure the bridge. The rebellion was slowed, giving the Queen's forces time to regroup. Zira's heart pounded as she watched him in action. She had expected him to be helpful in administrative matters, perhaps clever in negotiations. But she had never imagined a human could handle a crisis of this scale with such calm and efficiency. She began to realize that Alex was not as ordinary as she had believed. Later, as the storm cleared, the city was still tense but safe. Rebels had been contained, and the bridges and districts secured. Zira approached Alex in the grand hall, her voice quiet. You did this," she said. "All of it. You saved the city." Alex shook his head. "We saved it. You gave me the chance to help. I only guided the soldiers. The city's strength comes from its people, not just me." Zira studied him, her mind racing. Humans were fragile, short-lived, yet this one moved with a certainty and skill that rivaled the greatest Veyron warriors. He was calm in chaos, clever in ways no alien could predict, and humble in victory. "Alex," she said, "there is something about you I do not understand. You are human, yes, but ordinary humans do not do what you just did. Alex smiled faintly, though he said nothing. Zira felt a mix of admiration and unease. Perhaps there was more to him than she had ever guessed. Perhaps his strength was hidden, waiting for the right moment to reveal itself. That evening, Zira called a private meeting with Alex in the floating gardens. The twin moons reflected in the glowing plants, giving the world an ethereal light. "Tell me," she said softly. "Who are you, really? How can a human be so capable?" Alex looked out at the city, thinking. "I have abilities, yes," he said slowly, "but I did not show them fully because I wanted to see if you loved me for who I am, not what I can do. Strength can be powerful, but love must be chosen freely." Zira's heart skipped a beat. She realized then that this human she had married was not just clever, not just brave. He was extraordinary. But he had chosen to appear ordinary, to test her, to wait for the right time. "Extraordinary or not," she said finally, "I am proud to have you by my side. And I see now that your strength is not just in your skills, it is in your mind, your heart, and your courage." Alex nodded, though he did not reveal the full extent of his hidden power. He was patient, waiting for the day when his true strength would be needed most. The night ended with the city safe, the storm passing, and a new understanding forming between the queen and her human consort. Zira realized that she had underestimated him, and that underestimating Alex could have been dangerous. But now she knew the truth. He was more than she had ever imagined, and together they could face challenges no one else could. As the moons reflected on the floating gardens, Alex and Zira stood side by side, silent but united. The rogue faction might have been stopped, but Zira knew this was only the beginning. Greater threats would come, and when they did, she was confident, because now she had not just a husband, but a partner whose mind and courage might one day change the fate of Vera itself. The city of Vera was quiet after the storm, though tension lingered in the streets. Citizens moved cautiously, repairing bridges and cleaning debris from the previous night's attacks. In the palace, Queen Zira walked slowly through the grand Hall of Starlight, her thoughts heavy. Alex had proven himself in ways she could not ignore. He had saved the city, outsmarted the rebels, and guided the soldiers with unmatched skill. Yet he had not revealed his full abilities, and she sensed there was more. That evening, Zira called Alex to the royal chambers. The glowing walls reflected the light of the twin moons, creating a serene atmosphere. Alex entered calmly, bowing, slightly in respect. "Alex," Zira began, "there is something I must ask you. You are human, yes, but you are not ordinary. Tell me the truth. Who are you really?" Alex looked at her, his expression calm but serious. "You wish to know the truth," he said. "Very well. I am not just a regular human. I come from a long line of humans with abilities that have been dormant for generations. My family has hidden these powers, and I have trained in secret to master them." Zira's eyes widened. "Abilities? What kind of abilities?" Alex extended his hand slowly. A soft glow emanated from his palms, swirling like liquid light. Energy moved in controlled patterns around him, not wild or chaotic, but precise and powerful. He demonstrated small feats, lifting heavy objects with minimal effort, analyzing complex alien machinery instantly, and moving with speed and agility beyond normal human capability. Zira gasped. This is incredible. Why did you not tell me?" "I wanted to see if you would love me for who I am," Alex explained. "Not for my strength, not for my skills. I wanted you to choose me freely, for my heart and my mind, not my power." Zira felt a mix of awe and admiration. She realized that this human, whom she had thought ordinary, had hidden a strength that could rival the greatest Veyran warriors, and yet he had waited, not to impress or dominate, but to earn her trust and respect. "You are extraordinary," she said finally. "More than I ever imagined. And yet you did not reveal this because you trusted me?" Alex nodded. "Yes, I believe in partnership. Power without trust is meaningless. I wanted you to see me as I truly am, not as a weapon or a threat." The Queen studied him in silence, trying to comprehend the depth of his honesty and strength. She realized that his abilities were not just physical, they were strategic, intellectual, and emotional. He could guide armies, solve problems instantly, and remain calm under pressure. But above all, he had chosen patience, restraint, and respect. "This changes everything," Zira said softly. "Not because of your power, but because of your choices. You have shown that humans can rise above their limits, and that their strength is not just in their bodies but in their hearts and minds." Alex smiled faintly. "I hoped you would see it that way." In the following days, Alex began training with the Queen and her elite guards. He demonstrated combat skills that blended human agility with alien techniques, moving faster and more precisely than anyone expected. He also showed his ability to analyze complex systems, repairing damaged energy cores and optimizing the palace defenses in ways the Veyrans had never considered. The council watched in amazement. Some whispered nervously, while others were openly impressed. The Queen noticed that the citizens were also beginning to respect Alex, not just for his powers, but for his humility, intelligence, and dedication. One afternoon, Zira took Alex to the Palace Observatory, a massive dome overlooking the city. Holographic maps and floating data streams filled the space. "There is still unrest," Zira said. "The rogue factions may regroup. I need your guidance." Alex studied the maps carefully, analyzing troop movements, resource locations, and possible rebel hideouts. "We should focus on containment first," he said. "If we secure the districts and protect the bridges, we can prevent them from gaining support. Then we address the root causes of their dissatisfaction. Punishment alone will not work. Leadership requires understanding." Zira nodded, impressed once again by his insight. "You think like a leader, not just a warrior." Alex looked at her, serious. "Strength alone is not enough to protect a kingdom. Strategy, empathy, and planning matter more. And with your guidance, we can combine my skills with your authority to create something greater than either of us could achieve alone." Zira felt a warmth in her chest. She realized that her choice of a human consort was no mistake. He was not just a husband, he was a partner, an equal in every way. And now, knowing his true potential, she felt a surge of confidence that together they could face any threat. That evening, as the twin moons reflected over the floating gardens, Zira and Alex walked side by side. She looked at him, seeing not only a human but a being of extraordinary courage, intellect, and heart. "You have shown me something I never expected," she said softly. "Humans are fragile, yes. But you prove that they can also be powerful in ways we never imagined. You inspire not just me, but everyone around you." Alex smiled. "I only hope to protect what matters. I do not seek glory, only to serve and support, and to stand by your side." Zira's heart swelled with admiration. She realized that their union was more than political or ceremonial. It was a true partnership, a human and an alien queen, united by trust, love, and mutual respect. That moment, Zira knew that the real challenges were still ahead. Greater threats would come, forces beyond anything they had faced. But now, with Alex's true power revealed, she felt ready. Together, they could face anything. Together, they could change the fate of Vera and beyond. And Alex, patient and humble, waited. He knew that the right moment to fully unleash his abilities had not yet come. But when it did, the galaxy would witness the extraordinary power of humanity and the bond that could unite worlds. The morning sun barely touched the floating city of Vera when alarms rang throughout the palace. Zira, standing on the balcony of the Grand Hall, spotted movement in the distance. The rogue faction, which had once been contained, was now joined by an alien fleet from beyond the Veran system. Their combined forces threatened not only the city, but the entire planet. Zira turned to Alex, who stood beside her, calm despite the chaos. "This is worse than anything we have faced before," she said. "Our soldiers alone cannot hold them back." Alex studied the approaching forces, analyzing their speed, formations, and likely strategies. "We do not need to match them in strength," he said quietly. "We need to outthink them. If we use the city's layout and our resources carefully, we can defend Vera without needless losses," the Queen nodded. "Then we act together. I will command the fleet and the ground forces, and you—" She hesitated. "You will guide strategy." Alex gave a faint smile. "Together, we will coordinate every move. Your authority and my planning can combine in ways no one expects." Immediately, the palace became a hive of activity. Alex moved among the officers, soldiers, and engineers, offering guidance. He suggested positioning energy shields at precise points along the bridges connecting the districts, creating choke points that would funnel the enemy into predictable paths. He helped pilots understand patterns in the alien fleet's movements, predicting attacks before they happened. Soldiers whispered among themselves. They had seen human cleverness before, but nothing like this. Alex's calm demeanor and instant solutions inspired confidence. Even the most skeptical officers began to trust his judgments. The rogue faction attacked first, attempting to storm the lower districts with small, fast units. Zira led her forces in a defensive formation, but the rebels were cunning. Alex intervened with small tactical adjustments, redirecting patrols and coordinating defensive energy fields. With his guidance, the soldiers moved like a single organism, anticipating the enemy's every move. When the alien fleet arrived, the challenge became even greater. Massive ships hovered over the city, firing energy beams that could destroy buildings in seconds. Alex analyzed their firing patterns and suggested evasive maneuvers for Veran vessels. He coordinated simultaneous strikes, using the city's structures as cover and creating confusion in the enemy lines. Zira watched, amazed. She had expected him to help with strategy, but Alex seemed to anticipate everything. He moved not like a human in panic, but like a force of nature, guiding outcomes without even touching the controls himself. In the midst of the battle, a large enemy cruiser targeted the central bridge, the main route into the city. If it succeeded, it could split Vera's defenses and allow the rebels to capture key districts. Alex took control of the situation. He directed energy beams from the palace defenses to intercept the cruiser's attacks while guiding fighter ships to disable its engines. Using his enhanced reflexes, he piloted a ship through a narrow corridor, evading enemy fire with impossible speed, and delivered a strike that immobilized the cruiser. The city erupted in cheers. The fleet's advance was slowed, giving Zira's forces time to regroup. Citizens watched from their floating homes, amazed at the human who had become the heart of their defense. Even as the battle continued, Alex remained calm, guiding soldiers, directing repairs, and predicting enemy maneuvers. Zira fought alongside him on the ground, her combat skills blending with his strategy. Together they moved with perfect coordination, inspiring those around them. Later, in the palace command center, Zira looked at him. "You have shown incredible skill today," she said. "Not just power, but intelligence and leadership. You have saved countless lives." Alex shook his head. "We saved them together. Your leadership, your courage, your decisions, they are as important as any skill I have." As the sun set, the enemy forces began to retreat. Their morale was shattered, their fleet damaged, and their soldiers demoralized. Vera stood victorious, though battered and tired. Citizens celebrated, cheering for the queen and the human who had defended them. Zira realized something profound. Humans, fragile as they seemed, could rise to extraordinary heights. Alex had shown not just strength, but ingenuity, patience, and courage. He was not merely a human consort, he was a partner in every sense, capable of thinking, fighting, and inspiring on a level she had never imagined. That night, as the city glowed with the lights of rebuilding and celebration, Zira and Alex walked through the floating gardens. The twin moons reflected on the glowing plants, casting soft shadows. "You have changed everything, Alex," Zira said softly. "Not just for me or for the city, but for everyone. Humans, they are more than we ever believed." Alex looked at her, calm and humble. "I only did what was needed, but together we can do more. There are always challenges ahead, and we must be ready." Zira nodded, feeling a new sense of purpose. She had chosen him for his heart and mind, and now she had seen the full extent of his abilities. Their bond was stronger than ever, built on trust, respect, and shared victory. "I trust you," she said finally. "Whatever comes next, I know we can face it." "And I trust you," Alex replied. "Together, we are stronger than anyone imagines. We are not just queen and consort. We are partners, and Vera's people have a right to see what humanity can offer." As they stood together, looking over the city, Zira realized the truth. Humans were capable of greatness far beyond what the galaxy believed. Alex had shown her that strength was not just physical, not just technological. It was intelligence, courage, and the heart to act when it mattered most. And while the night was calm now, both knew that greater threats would come. The rogue factions might regroup, the alien fleets might return, and new enemies could rise. But with Alex at her side, Zira felt ready. Together, they could face any challenge, any danger, and any foe. For the first time, she truly understood what it meant to have a human partner. Not weak, not ordinary, but capable of extraordinary feats when guided by purpose, love, and loyalty. The future of Vera was uncertain, but one thing was clear. With Alex's mind and power combined with Zira's leadership and courage, nothing could stop them. Together, they were unstoppable. The twin suns of Vera barely peaked above the horizon when the warning alarms blared across the city. Zira stood on the balcony of the Grand Hall of Starlight, her violet eyes scanning the horizon. The rogue faction, regrouped and reinforced by the alien fleet, was approaching again. This time, their forces were larger, more organized, and more dangerous. The fate of Vera, and perhaps the surrounding systems, hung in the balance. Alex stood beside her, calm as ever. His eyes, usually soft and thoughtful, were now sharp and focused. He had trained for moments like this, and though he had hidden much of his power until now, he knew the time had come. "This is it," Zira said softly. "This is the final threat. Can we stop them?" Alex placed a hand gently on hers. "Yes, together we will, but you must trust me completely." Zira nodded. She had learned to trust him over the past weeks, but now she felt a deep certainty. This human, whom she had once thought ordinary, was extraordinary in every way. The battle began at dawn. The enemy fleet advanced, energy beams slicing through the sky. The rogue factions surged across the bridges and streets, hoping to divide the city's defenses. But Alex was ready. He moved like lightning, coordinating the defense with precision. Energy shields rose in perfect alignment, guiding enemy units into traps. Veran ships, under Alex's direction, moved with uncanny timing, striking with precision where the enemy least expected. Soldiers whispered in awe as Alex anticipated attacks before they happened, his mind working faster than anyone could follow. Then came the moment Zira had been waiting for. A massive enemy cruiser descended on the central palace. Its weapons could destroy the city in minutes. Alex turned to her. "Stay here," he said. "I will handle this." Zira's heart raced, but she nodded. She knew he could do it. What she did not yet fully realize was the true extent of his power. Alex stepped forward, focusing his energy. Light gathered around him, not blinding, but intense, swirling with raw power. He moved with superhuman speed, leaping onto the cruiser's hull before anyone could react. Energy pulsed from his hands, disabling the cruiser's shields and engines. The alien crew scrambled, but Alex was faster than anything they had ever seen. With careful precision, he redirected the ship away from the city, forcing it to retreat. The battle raged across the skies and streets, but with Alex's guidance, Vera's forces held firm. He was everywhere at once, directing ships, guiding soldiers, repairing energy grids, and neutralizing enemy attacks. His human ingenuity combined with extraordinary power made him unstoppable. Zira fought alongside him on the ground, her combat skills blending seamlessly with his strategies. Where the Vayrans were strong but predictable, Alex added creativity and speed. Together they became the heart of Vera's defense, inspiring every soldier, citizen, and officer. Hours passed, and the enemy's morale crumbled. The rogue faction, seeing their fleet damaged and their leaders captured or retreating, began to surrender. Citizens cheered from the floating districts, witnessing the human who had saved their home. Finally, the battle ended. The city was scarred but standing. Bridges repaired by energy fields and citizens safe. Zira approached Alex, her eyes filled with admiration and relief. "You have done it," she said, her voice trembling slightly. "You have saved Vera, and yet you controlled your power, not for glory, but for life itself." Alex shook his head. "We did it together. Your leadership, your courage, and your choices made this possible. I only helped guide what already existed, people who cared about their home." Zira studied him, understanding fully for the first time. This human was extraordinary, not only because of his hidden abilities, but because of his heart, intelligence, and restraint. He had shown that humans could rise above their limits and change the course of events in ways no one had imagined. That evening, the city celebrated. Citizens filled the floating gardens, cheering for their queen and the human hero who had protected them. Zira stood beside Alex, proud and happy. She realized that their partnership was not just personal, it was symbolic. Humanity, often underestimated, had proven its worth. Alex, humble as ever, watched the celebrations quietly. He did not crave recognition or power. What mattered to him was the safety of Vera and the bond he shared with the queen. He knew greater. Challenges could arise, but he was ready, and he was not alone. Later, in the palace observatory, Zira turned to him. "Alex," she said softly, "you have shown me more than I could ever imagine. You are human, yes, but extraordinary. You have reminded me and everyone what humans are capable of." Alex smiled faintly. "I only acted when needed. But it is true. Humans can achieve great things when guided by purpose, courage, and heart. Together, we can face anything." Zira placed her hand in his, feeling a deep sense of peace. "Then we will face the future together, not just as queen and consort, but as partners in every way." The twin moons rose over Vera, casting silver light across the floating gardens. Citizens looked up, inspired by the union of two worlds, a human and an alien queen, standing together as protectors and leaders. In the days that followed, the city rebuilt. Alex helped redesign energy systems, improve defenses, and train new soldiers. Zyra worked with him, combining her authority and knowledge with his extraordinary abilities. Together, they created a new era of peace and prosperity for Vera, one built on trust, courage, and cooperation. Stories of the human who saved the alien city spread across the stars. Humans, once thought fragile and weak, became known for their intelligence, resilience, and ability to rise to the greatest challenges. And Zyra, the queen who chose to see beyond appearances, stood proud beside her consort, knowing she had made the right choice. Alex, patient and humble, continued to serve, his powers no longer hidden but used wisely to protect and inspire. He had shown that true strength was not just in abilities, but in heart, mind, and loyalty. And so, Vera entered a new era, stronger, united, and inspired by the human who had reminded them all of what was possible. Together, Zyra and Alex looked to the stars, ready for whatever challenges the galaxy might bring. For they were not just queen and consort, they were partners, equals, and a symbol of hope for all worlds.